Hey everybody, Steve Kreiner, the Dog Soldier here. Welcome to this week's Plain and Simple Predator Hunting. Man, I tell you what, that little intro there always gets me fired up. I am sorry that I may look a little droggy. I may look a little tired. I've been riding my bicycle all week. I've been having a heck of a time. You know, on top of keeping up with everything with the show, and right now we're producing episodes for the rest of this quarter. We will air till July. So we're just rocking and rolling. Everything's going good with the show. Not been hunting much, getting ready for bears. So I've been trying to get into shape. I've been riding my bicycle. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Facebook deal, but yeah, that's me right there. That's me right there with the damn bicycle, or with the dirt wrapped around my head, I guess you could say. And man, I tell you what, that was a hell of a crash. You know, I will tell you one thing. When you're 38 years old, stuff just don't. Man, what can I don't know how to put it. Stuff just don't feel the same. It's damn sure. It's damn sure hard to take. But you know, speaking of bicycles, I don't know how many of you guys out there ride bikes or shoot, I don't know. I mean, I'm 38 and I like riding bicycles. And there's a lot of things going on. We're going to talk bicycles here in a couple weeks. I'm going to have a few companies on. You know, we work hard. We've got Dog Soldier really fine-tuned right now, and everything's going good. So when I bring on products out of the ordinary, kind of like bicycles, you know, I'd like to film 90% of the show next year off bicycles. Does that mean you have to have a bicycle to be efficient? No. Does that mean you have to do everything I do to be efficient? No. But you know, one thing I like to do is I like to make my life easier, and bicycles, I believe, is going to do that. Especially out west here, it's going to be pretty badass, and you know, motor noise is a key, so it's going to up our ratio. Speaking of products, speaking of the show, you know, speaking of the show and being fine-tuned, let's talk a little bit about sponsor stuff. This is the Winchester XPC. Now, I'm telling you right now, this gun is rad. That's Winchester's chassis gun. And, you know, that chassis gun right there, it's a retail at $15.99. It comes in a 308, 243, or 6.5 Creedmoor. What I've seen with Winchester so far, a lot of people have seen me shoot a few different rifles in my outdoor career as a television personality. I started with Thompson Center, which made an awesome rifle, and then I moved on to Mossberg, which made a really good price point rifle. You know, in that $600 range, $550, $600. It was a really good rifle. And then now I'm shooting Winchester, and it's a really good rifle. So I've been really lucky my whole career to not have to shoot junk. I think all of us know, watching the podcast, which is the lesser of the three. But I tell you what, man, I've been shooting the Winchester Coyote Light, and it is absolutely amazing. Man, I'm making some good shots with that thing. I just posted a YouTube video where I shot a coyote at 456 yards. That's a long old poke. It was a 243, so it wasn't as quite a long poke as it could have been. You know, 450 yards ain't much for a 243. That's a pretty good shot. The week before, I posted one on YouTube, and I shot one at 419 or 20 or something like that. I do want to raise. Somebody just said the link ain't working. Hey, will you guys go to Facebook? Somebody watching, go to Facebook and go ahead and post these links. I'm gonna try to do that right now. But you know, it's working for me. But I'm going to, we're talking about long shots. I am gonna tell you guys one thing. There's a lot of people out there right now that are posting videos online and doing stuff like that, and um, they say they shoot a coyote at like 500 yards, and let me type in this link real quick. And actually, they say they shoot a coyote at like 560 yards, and it's actually 300 yards. I'll tell you right now, this ain't no bull crap right here. I've videoed coyotes for a long time, and I know what a 12 power optical zoom camera can do. And I just so happen to know who's shooting 12 power optical zoom cameras. And when they say they're shooting coyotes at 500 and 600 yards, it fools some people. But so when my shots look like they're 1,000 yards and they're 400, I'm just gonna plain and simple tell you, because I'm not that great of a shot, to be honest about it. Um, it is what it is. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun here on Dog Soldier, and one thing we don't have a lot of fun doing is BSing people. That's why I changed the name of the show, Plain and Simple Predator Hunting. Hey, Bees O'Brien, I see he's on. He's going to be our guest. Text Stearman and tell him the link. I just posted it on my personal page to have him put it up on the fan page. But anyway, that's one thing we don't do. We have a lot of fun here. We're not going to BS. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just a plain and simple coyote hunter that just so happened to make the right investments at the right time, and I was able to get in the outdoor industry, and I think people might enjoy watching the show because we've lasted quite a while and we're here to stay. One thing about it is I've talked to several people this week, some sponsors of ours and some of these bike companies, and I found out that we're up and comers. Yeah, we're up and comers, and I like that. People are considering Steve Kreiner and the Dog Soldier and Regulators and the show. They're considering us up and comers, and I really like that. That means I've not plateaued. Now, I've seen some people start YouTube pages and Facebook, and they plateau right off the bat. It don't matter how many keywords you steal. It don't matter how you dress. It don't matter what you do. You got to know the business side to succeed. And I also had a guy tell me today, Garrett Johnson. I don't know if you know Garrett Johnson. He's on Instagram, Mule Deer Insurance, Brush Wolf Hunter, I believe is what he is on Instagram. We were talking today, and he told me, and it was really humble of him. He told me, he said, man, some of my friends kind of think you're an arrogant prick, but I just told them you're an all right guy and you kind of know what you're doing, and I appreciate that. I'm learning just like everybody else, and I learn every day through the industry and what you can get away with, what you can't, and who you can piss off and who you can't, and so guys, don't ever mistake my attitude and my forwardness as arrogance, because man, that's not what I want. I just want to be I just want to have fun. I want to share it with you guys, and I'm lucky enough to make a living doing it. Speaking of go getting and making a living and having fun and hunting, the weather's changing. It's getting warmer. Like I said, I'm getting in shape, and I'm getting in shape for bear season. Yes, sir. That's a picture of me right over here off my left shoulder. That's a picture of me with the big old bear I shot last year, and it was pretty fun hunt. My first bear hunt, actually. I'm not just a crazy ass bear hunter, and I won't claim to be, but that was an experience, and I'm ate up with bears, and now it's warming up and the weather's getting better, so now we're fired up. The camera guys are fired up, and we're going to start baiting bears here in a couple weeks, and I absolutely cannot wait. I can't wait at all. I'll tell you right now, I'm watching from both sides. I'm watching my studio here, and I'm watching the watch page, and Seems like everybody's chatting. I like that. This gives everybody a good platform. You guys can chat how you want. Does anybody here, you guys know Tim Wells? I mean, that was a stupid question. Does anybody here know Tim Wells? Like, what am I thinking asking you guys if you know Tim Wells? Well, we're going to have Tim Wells on the show here pretty soon, I hope. I've talked to him a little bit, and, hopefully he has enough time to be on the show. Let me grab something real quick. Now, this is I don't really know what you call this thing. It's a blowgun. I mean, I can call it whatever I want, but it is a blowgun, and it's a badass blowgun. You just, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm talking about this crap. This is my podcast, I guess, so we can kind of do what we want. As long as I ain't got pistols out and shooting people or myself or whatever. But anyway, look at that right there. You guys see that? That is like 3/8 of an inch point. Now this blowgun is, I think it's called a schlocker or some kind of crap like that. This is, I'm telling you right now, a badass machine. You just put your little dart in there like so, and just I'm gonna kill a freaking coyote with this son of a bitch. I don't care if I gotta shoot him in the ass and walk up to him and shoot him with it to kill it. I am gonna kill a coyote with a Tim Wells schlocker or schlong or whatever you want to call it blowgun. Tim Wells, I'm telling you, Tim Wells is one of the most badass guys on the outdoor networks. Plain and simple. And I like Tim as a person. He's a good friend of mine. Well, I wouldn't say he's a good friend. He's a good acquaintance. We're really good buddies. We like each other. I respect that guy so much. I respect the fact that I tell you one thing I respect about Tim Wells is I respect the fact that he don't sugarcoat nothing, and he don't fancy edit his show. I mean, it's all so real. I really like how Tim does his show, and I like how he does. I like everything about Tim. I'm a stalker. I'm gonna start stalking Tim Wells. You guys should comment and tell me if I should start stalking Tim Wells. All right. I tell you what, we're going to get started here. I see the comments starting to go in. There's a guy on YouTube right now commenting. Looky right here. The voice of Bees O'Brien is going to come at you. Now, Bees O'Brien, I'm going to call him here. It's on my page. Post to fan page, please. Okay, that's the Stearman. All right, I'm going to call this fella right here. And this is Bees O'Brien of Bees Game Calls. He's an East Coast guy. I guess he's probably a Yankee. I don't know.
Yankee.
Ho-ho! There he is.
Hey,
the
what's
man
going on, Steve?
What's going on, Bees?
Oh, just sitting out here waiting for the call, listening to you get away with saying schlong on your YouTube show.
I know, ain't that something?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I had to figure out. Here's the deal. I had to figure out what I could say. I had to figure out what I could say and get along or get away with it without making any of these other guys mad. Because I'm making everybody mad, and I'm really not sure how I'm doing it. I know there's an art to it, but I've just not got it figured out. I'm doing it on accident, you know.
Well, I haven't figured it out neither. I seem to make a lot of people mad on accident when it comes to social media and stuff, but I guess that's just the way it goes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Hell, it is what it is. I just keep on going. I seen you commenting on the, I guess the podcast is looking good, and I don't look like a Chinese movie or nothing, do I?
No, not this week anyways.
Good, man. Last week it was a mess. I think we're starting to get these bugs worked out. Starting a podcast is not as easy as I thought it was, and there's gonna be some old fellers that we know probably follow suit and start their own podcast, and
Oh, I'm sure there'll be other ones,
yeah, and I don't mind that. I was taught by a marketing director when I worked at Hunter Specialties. His name was Brian Johnson, and this guy taught me that competition is good. And you know what? I've let some things get to me here lately, and I've let some things piss me off, and I've let some things make me laugh. But now, I think I'm just gonna go with the punches, and I like it. I support everybody in the outdoor industry. Maybe some people I don't even like, I still hope they succeed.
Exactly. If they're talking about you, whether it's bad or good, hey, at least they're talking about you.
Yeah, that's right. And the more people that get in the industry, probably the more stronger it's going to be. Sometimes I'm selfish and get pissed off when there's other people trying to do what I do, and I think they're doing it wrong, and I open my mouth, and you know what, all power to them. I think it's going to, hopefully it makes it better, and hopefully it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, tell us about the call business. Tell us about B's Calls.
Well, I started making calls probably back in 2003. I started out with these little simple basic arrow shaft calls. I sold them on eBay and a little bit over on the Predator Masters forum. Some of the people listening might remember them. I still occasionally will break them out. Then I went into the horn howlers, making the cow horn coyote howlers. Did that for a couple years, and then eventually I decided it was time to go get a lathe. And once I got a lathe, I've just been spinning like crazy for the last 7-8 years now.
Spinning like crazy. That's a good. You should make a shirt that says that.
Says what?
Spinning like crazy.
There you go. There's a shirt idea. I seem to pump out quite a bit of unique shirt designs as of late. Well, the last few years, anyways.
I know. I've seen some of the stuff that you and some of your buddies are capable of, and it's the funniest crap I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we get to be creative. That's the thing with this business. Anything in the outdoor business, you got to have fun with it. If you're taking it too serious, then you're not going to enjoy yourself with it at all.
Yeah, that's right. So
I mean, there's some.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, you go, Fed. You go ahead.
Steve, you made me lose my train of thought.
I was just getting ready to say I forgot what I was going to say, so you got to pick it up here.
I got to pick it up.
Jesus. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, yeah, the call business is, you touched a little bit on it too, or competition. And I mean, the more competition, the better. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of custom call makers out there. And, you come up with a call idea. 2 weeks later, you see someone with the same thing, but you just got to roll with it. Just keep advancing and coming up with more ideas, because the first person that comes up with the first idea is usually the one that's going to take hold and go probably the best out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good friends with Major Boddicker, and, he was the first guy to ever patent an open reed tone board. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yeah, he's a really super guy, and he used to let me and Wayne Carlton, he used to let Wayne Carlton make some elk calls out of his tone boards, and then when Wayne sold to Hunter Specialties, of course, Hunter Specialties turned some of them into Predator calls, and really the contracts and everything, he couldn't really stop them. But after I left Hunter Specialties, I talked to Major, and he's like, Kreiner, you do whatever you want to do with Critter Call. And I actually tried to buy Critter Call, and he wasn't quite ready to sell it yet, but he let me use his tone boards. I'd buy tone boards for a dealer cost or whatever, and excuse me, and he would sell me these tone boards, and then I'd read them how I wanted it, and that was the first series of Jack the Reapers. So I damn sure don't know anything about spinning calls or really tone boards or reeds or anything else, but if you set something in front of me, I can read things like I want and score them and do whatever I need to do to get the sound I want. But what you guys are doing, I think, is amazing myself.
Yeah, you know, it's something when you get some new wood stock in, you look at it and you're like, there's no way that's going to look any good. Then you get to playing with it and you spin the first few pieces, you're like, wow, I can't believe what it turned into. It started as a square block of wood or acrylic, and now it's a sharp looking piece of killing machine.
Yeah, yeah. I think what we're seeing out of your shop is looking really good. And speaking of that, we're gonna give one of your calls away a little later. So for all the guys watching right now, you should go to Facebook and share this, because if you guys win a call and you haven't shared this on Facebook, I'm not gonna send it to you. Neither is Bees.
That's right. Yes, that's a good idea there. I made a cherry custom. It's a custom call. It's a cherry. It's one of my peep calls. It's probably, I'd say, my top seller right now. A lot of guys, it's put a lot of fur in the trucks for a lot of guys. That seems to be the biggest call that I've been selling lately. They've been going pretty high on my Sunday auction.
Yeah, one. I forgot my call you sent me the other day. I don't know if you make it for everybody or not, but that call you sent me the other day sounds badass. It's up in the kitchen right now, or I'd blow on it.
Yeah, that was a glow in the dark firefly cottontail distress. It's a little acrylic call, and man, for being a little skinny call, it sure does pack some punch and some volume that can carry quite a ways.
Man, I love that thing. Back when I worked for HS as well, they had a little plastic. I don't know. I called it a funnel. I mean, a 10th scale funnel is what I called it. It looked like just a little piece of plastic, and a JC Reed would go in it. And I loved that thing. But it was
Yep,
so small.
I mean, less is more usually a lot of times when it comes to calls.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys they see all the fancy woods, and I do a lot of the Spectraply Keller stuff, and they see that and they get all googly eyed over it. And I tell them, I said that's nice, but if you want a really good sounding call, believe it or not, like oak, cherry, apple, something simple like that, it might not have a lot of flash to it. But if you're looking for sound quality and performance, you know, sometimes the dollar woods is actually the better woods to use.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you what, it's I could sit and talk all night long and pick your brain about making calls. I really that really intrigues me. Matter of fact, I was going to buy a lathe one time, and I thought, man, I'm going to make calls, because you can't get a prototype made to save your life in this country. I mean, it sucks.
No, you can't.
It sucks.
Nope. I had a few prototypes made, and I did like what I'd call a semi-production type thing, and I had them all molded out of a type of acrylic resin, and I did well with them, but the sound was decent, but it still wasn't the same, you know. It wasn't the same feel. Plus, you know, just plugging together a call like that quick when I'm used to being out in the shop spinning a bunch for people, you know, it kind of grew old.
Yeah, you know,
you lose the creative aspect of the whole thing, really, when you start doing something like that, I feel anyways.
Yeah, you know, I think that's why I started building holsters and stuff. I've been doing television for so long now. I'm pretty well stuck in my ways, and I may come up with an idea here and there, like this bicycle deal, and I may change up things how I do it personally a little bit, which fades over to the shows. But man, I was missing something, and I started building them holsters. And of course, you know, being in manufacturing and the outdoor industry for so long, I thought, man, I need to figure out how to grow this brand and create a sellout situation, or figure out how to get these in stores. And I figured out real quick. I'll tell you right now, I don't even make a pattern and throw in my drawer. When somebody wants a holster made now, I lay out the blank, and it might be the same looking holster, like the armor is pretty much the same model, but none of them are exactly the same. I don't even have a pattern. I just lay them out and draw them out every time.
That's the great thing about any custom project like that. You don't grow bored with it, because everything's different. I can make 50 cottontail distress. I guarantee every single one of them is going to be different in some form or some way or another. Yeah. You know, the sound's always the same, because as far as once you get the tune and the reeds figured out, you can do that every time. But the actual design itself, the body of the call, always changes.
Yeah, I really like it. And there's something Bob Patrick, you know, I won the world championships in 2010 blowing on one of his calls, and it's just something about blowing one of your guys' calls that when a coyote comes in, it's just different. I mean, it really is. Um, I like to think that my line of calls is the best production line you can get. I don't know if it is or not. It sounds like I want them to sound, and I kill coyotes. But I will admit, there's just something about a spun call.
It's just the feel and everything, especially from a call maker yourself. You hold that in your hand, you kind of get a sense of pride, like, wow, I made that.
Yeah.
How the heck did I ever figure out how to make one of these? And now it's just second nature anymore, really, as far as call making goes. And I just don't stop at mine. I'll buy other custom call makers out there like crazy. There's a ton of call makers out there that are really doing a good job. And I like to line up my lanyard with as many different ones as I can, because each one has their own sound, their own feel,
Yeah. And that's good. I was taught by my grandpa, if you trade money with everybody in your circle, and yeah, you may not know everybody in this industry personally, or what, like that blowgun that I was just showing. I ordered a blowgun off Tim Wells's website just for the hell of it, so I could talk about something on my podcast, and I really like that thing. And Tim probably would have sent me one if I'd have just asked, but I was always taught, if you trade money with people in your circle, you'll make it. And and then and that's kind of creating a circle, and that's kind of closing it up again. Brings us back to, well, we all hate each other, even though we shouldn't in this industry.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that going around the last couple of years. You sit back and watch. Well, this guy uses this e-caller, so I don't like him, or this guy uses this custom call, so I don't like him. And that's really just negative. It really hurts the sport as a whole. Especially with antis coming out of the woodworks and stuff. United we stand.
Yeah, that's, speaking of antis. This week we had a really a guy I know from Tin Sleep, Wyoming, posted and I was going to talk about it in the news, and I just didn't feel like wasting a lot of air on her, but I guess I'll talk about her anyway. The Queen of Yellowstone died this week, and are you familiar with the Queen of Yellowstone, Beast?
No, I am not.
It was a solid white female wolf, an alpha wolf in Yellowstone, and some hikers found her, and then they euthanized her. Which, if I'd have found her, I'd have clubbed her with a damn stick. But this wolf, is getting a lot of attention because she was called the Queen of Yellowstone. Well, I just commented good riddance, because if anybody has any common sense whatsoever and any knowledge of Yellowstone and the western frontier, they know that the wolf that they introduced in Yellowstone that ain't even supposed to be there is horrible in diminishing elk and deer populations and moose populations. And this lady, we fought with her and fought with her and fought with her. And I just love it. I just love it. Now, it does excite me when I look down at my Facebook video. I've got one floating around right now that's been watched almost 200,000 times in the last couple months. It does make me feel kind of fluffy inside that 200,000 people laid eyes on that video for longer than 10 seconds by the analytics, but 90% of them don't like me, man. You know that?
90%, that's pretty good numbers.
Well, yeah, when I'm shooting for 99.
Yeah, you're shooting. I know you, Steve. You're definitely shooting for 99.9%. 90%, I guess, will do good for you.
Yeah, it's funny to me that people hashtag crap and this one's going viral and all this other bullshit, when if you're in the predator hunting industry, you know that it's not very big. There, our biggest predator hunting page right now, I think on Facebook, is probably around 14,000 members.
It's around that, yeah.
Okay, what just off the top of your head, and this may piss some people off. I don't really care if it does or not, because I know and I'm sure they do too. How many out of 14,000 of them people on that group are active predator hunters, do you think?
I would probably say 200, if that.
I want to throw something out there, and then we're going to start talking about the nitty-gritty of coyote hunting, but I want to throw something out there. If if there is 15,000 people in a predator hunting group, and some people that, like, I know some people that share their damn videos like 2,500 times with all these groups, and they don't realize the same people is in every group.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same market target in every single group. If you'll notice, you'll have the same people that like, the same people that comment. It's the same, you know.
Yeah. Well, let me throw this out there. 14,000 people in a predator hunting group. If there was 14,000 people active in that group, I would be rich. Not because of my calls being better than everybody else's. Not because Dog Soldier is better than anybody else. Because your common return off of marketing is X amount of percent. So you play the numbers just like a coyote stand. And this is business talking here. And some of the up-and-comers watching and other people, they'll like to know these facts. If you spend dollars on marketing and you get 3 to 5% ROI, you've done really good. If there's 14,000 people on that, there's 14,000 people on that group, and you can't sell, 200 hats a year. Let's just say hats for some of these guys. That should tell you something.
There's a small percentage that are actually active and actually will buy the merchandise and the calls and anything else. It was the same way when I started these auctions up a few years ago. I do them every other Sunday, and the first one I maybe sold a couple calls, In the last month and a half, it's been insanely crazy, but it's the same people that I had at the beginning that were there. It's just they seem to be more active in the sport, it seems, and they're starting to add more calls and more stuff to their collections. But the market it's so tiny, especially predator hunting. I mean, we're not talking deer or turkey or one of the big boys like that. It's still pretty small and obsolete. I do a lot of trapping too, and I think that the trapping market's still bigger than the predator calling market, despite the fur prices and so on.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the trapping market, but I do know the predator call numbers. And based off of a survey by the U.S. Game and Fish in 2012, there's somewhere around $35 million across the board in electronic game calls in the United States. And some companies claim to be the top of the food chain, and they're only doing 12 or 13 million. You don't really own the market unless you got it. And there's just so many call companies out there. I know Icotech, they're doing over $1 million now, and I know some people doing 12 million, and they're going to probably be pissed at me because I said that. But the thing about it is, for one, I'll just give you an example how engagement works. I got 14,000 fans on my Dog Soldier fan page, and I only got 6,500 YouTube subscribers. So you explain that, you know what I mean?
Numbers don't match up usually a lot of times, as you'll notice that. And it's funny you said about the e-call market. There is so many options out there, and you see almost daily 5, 6, 7, maybe a dozen posts. Oh, I want this call or that call, which is better? And they ask people, and you get 10 different opinions on 10 different calls. I mean, the best thing to do would be do your research. Get a chance to hold one of these calls in your hand if you know somebody that has it, see which one works better for your situation. And find out if it's going to play the files that you want and the sounds that you need, and if it suits your setup. A guy in the open plains in Kansas, where he can see 2,000 yards, he might not want the same e-call that a guy like me, where my biggest field is 50 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why when I see them threads, people usually tag me in it, because I help design, the electronic call that I represent. And I just tell people, go to tacticalpredatorhunter.com and order one, and if you don't like it, send it back within 24 hours. As long as it's postmarked within 24 hours, I'll take it back and give your money back. I want people to be happy.
That's the main thing, yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, when there's a lot of calls out there. I mean, $169 call, and I don't want to turn this into a product deal, but the market is so dynamic right now. There's the price points all the way from the $100 calls all the way to the $800 calls, and there is man, there's everything you want now in predator calls. I mean, there's calls that go off when you don't want, or when you probably get my ass chewed for that too. There's calls that go off when you shoot your gun and do the job for you. There's calls with GPSs in them. There's calls that spin. There's calls with cameras. There's calls, and I just like pushing a button, killing and shit. You know where I got the idea of simplicity at, Bees?
Where's that?
Do you know Matt Moret? He's from your part of the country.
I've heard the name before.
Okay, I worked with Matt in Hunter Specialties, and me and Al Morris was sitting at a pro staff meeting one night. And Matt Moret is not a coyote hunter, but he's a damn good trapper. And he said, all you guys do is push a button and kill coyotes. And back then, it was pretty popular to turn it into rocket science. This was about 7 years ago, and everybody's talking about breeding cycles and gestation periods and what you got to do here and what the coyote's saying here. And I remember Al got so freaking pissed off, man. He got so mad because world champion turkey hunter Matt Moret said, all you're doing is pushing a button. What's the problem? And Matt's one of my really great friends, and he didn't really mean nothing by it. He just meant that, really, you're not sticking a call in your mouth. You're just pushing a button sometimes, And, man, I tell you what, it pissed Al off so bad. And, that's where I got my idea of simplicity. You know what? Screw rocket science. I just want to push a button and kill shit, or blow on a call and kill shit. It's that simple.
Well, that's the thing with it, with all the options that all the e-callers have and stuff. You still got to learn how to set up with that e-caller. It's plain and simple to a point, but you can buy the most expensive call in the world, but if you don't know a good stand, a good way to walk into that stand and set up, that $800 call isn't going to really do you no good.
Yeah, that's right. So let's quit busting balls, and let's quit talking products, and let's quit talking all this stuff that I like talking about, because I could talk about business and marketing with you all day, just along with call making, because you've lasted, so you know how to do business, and that's the main thing. Let's talk about coyotes for a little bit. You want to do that?
Yeah, we can talk about coyotes.
Okay, and there's some people watching, and now remember, you guys, if you can, just open another window, go to Facebook if you got Facebook, and share this live feed, because I promise you, if you win a call tonight and you have Facebook and you haven't shared it, B's probably not going to send you a call. That's one of our rules. You need to share the live feed, and you need to like B's page. B's, what is your Facebook page?
My Facebook page is just search B's O'Brien Game Calls.
Okay, B's O'Brien Game Calls. So go like his page and share this live feed right now, because it says we got 20 minutes left, but we're going to go over, I'm afraid, because I like bees and we're going to have fun, and we still got some coyotes to talk about. And I'll think of some way these guys can win this call here in a minute. So anyway, bees, I don't know how you feel about this. I know how I feel about it because I've been all over the country, but I have not killed. You're in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I am in central Pennsylvania.
Okay, so I've not killed predators in Pennsylvania. I've not killed predators in Vermont. Not killed predators in New York. The furthest east I've gotten is Louisiana, and that really don't count. Southern Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, way deep Midwest, but not really east. So, but based on everything from Missouri all the way to California, I have theories, and I don't know if you agree with them or not. And if you don't, that's cool, because if I don't agree with yours, I know that's cool to you. So what is your theory? Do you think, here's the flagship question of the night. Do you think there's a difference in eastern coyotes and western coyotes?
There's only one difference, and really, I would say we seem to get bigger coyotes, but they act just like the coyotes west of the Mississippi, as far as I'm concerned. They're still a predator, still operate on instinct. Hear a lot of eastern guys say how the coyotes are smarter back here. They're not smarter. I think it's more of a population, a habitat, and a terrain issue back here in certain places. And that even changes within the state areas. I know, at least for Pennsylvania, I mean, you go south central way, there's a little bit more coyotes, but you come up my way, the population isn't what people believe it is. And I think a lot of it has to do with the terrain is just so thick. Like I said, 50-yard openings are huge openings for me. They're a blessing up here. I'm not used to big farms. Closest I have to go 30, 35 miles before I even hit farm country up here. So I'm doing a lot of calling on log roads and clear cuts and stuff like that. But I think the main difference is population. I was out in Missouri hunting 2006, 7, somewhere around there in Henry County, and first thing I noticed was, wow, there's an awful lot more coyotes. I mean, you could hear them vocal. We were seeing them more. I never even imagined doing so well calling in daylight. As soon as I hit out there, we were bringing in coyotes, but it wasn't because they were easier. It's just we happened to be on a farm that was never called ever for coyotes. I think that had a little bit to do with it too, but the population difference, I think, is the biggest thing compared to east to west.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that to some extent. I think the biggest factor you guys got is pressure. How many, do you know the statistics? And I should have looked this up because this is a huge part of what we're talking about. The statistics, the predator hunters, the licenses sold. What is the hunter base in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania, I don't know actual numbers, but as far as predator hunters go, it is loaded. It is loaded. My general area, not so much, but you go anywhere else, southeast, southwest, up on the northern tier of Pennsylvania near the New York border, and there's quite a bit of callers out there. And not only on top of that, we also have a large number of deer hunters that are in and out of the woods. You know, mostly where I'm at, it's all public ground, so it's constantly trenched with people going in and out all day long for months. But I mean,
the Eastern Sports and Trade Show. Before we talk about trade shows, I do want to be official real quick. This podcast is brought to you by Epidemic Inc. in Springfield, Missouri. That's who gives me all my skin, and TacticalPredatorHunter.com. Okay, so now we got the commercial out of the way. Okay, so one thing about the East Bees, I did notice the Eastern Sports Trade Show in Harrisburg. Tens and tens and thousands of people go through that. Hundreds of thousands, I think, right?
Yes, it's a big deal.
Okay, you cannot, I don't give a crap where it's at. You cannot find a show like that anywhere west of the Mississippi that draws that many people for that many consecutive days.
It's unreal. I mean, it's over a week long, and it's shoulder to shoulder the whole way through there.
Yeah, you know, I worked that a couple times when I was working with HS, and I will tell you right now, that show is it's a killer if you have to work it. But there's more people that go to that show in 10 days than that live in Wyoming.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so I know your deer, and I used to know the numbers because when I worked for HS, and even now, so that I'm working for Flextone, we study them numbers, and per capita and the hunters and the licenses sold in Pennsylvania is one of the top in the country for selling.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, it's ungodly out of this world. It's like Wisconsin. You know, if every armed citizen in Wisconsin formed an army, they'd be the 7th largest army in the United States. I know Pennsylvania is bigger. I do know that for a fact.
Yeah, the pressure, especially predator. I used to go all season long up here and not see a red light shining anywhere. And now I run into 4, 5, 6 people a year, which doesn't seem like it's a whole lot, but for my particular area, it is.
Yeah.
So you can tell that it's growing, and the pressure really does have a lot to do with Pennsylvania, you know, especially in certain parts of the state. I know you go southeast, Lancaster, York County, closer to the Maryland border, those guys are smashing 100 reds a year, and they're out. Lots of them are out all the time.
You know, I'm the first one to admit I could have window shopped a few, but I have never killed a red fox. I've never called in and killed a red fox. And
they're a lot harder to find out west, aren't they?
Yeah, and you could find them in Missouri a little bit, but I will tell you one thing. I do have some reds right here close I could hunt, but I have a really hard time. Believe it or not, I have a little bit of a heart I have a hard time when I know where there's a red, and I know he's the only damn red in a 30-mile stretch of highway. Because you see them, you can pin down them suckers. I mean, they're...
Yep.
I have a hard time targeting him, but I also have a hard time... I mean, I'm not subtle of a caller enough. Out west and in the Midwest, I do know that everything wants to kill a red because they're subtle. You know, a gray fox will pounce in the middle of anything.
Yeah, they're the most aggressive beast there is, those little buggers.
Yeah, and a red will run 2 miles to get the wind right, you know. So, you know, hey, thanks Raymond Teska. He's signing out. Raymond is one of the people that watch on a regular basis. He's a veteran. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your sacrifice you've done for this country. We'll catch you next time. And this podcast will go up on the YouTube channel. I'll pull it off tonight later on, and I will re-download it. That way, iTunes podcast, just search Plain and Simple Predator Hunting. We're growing real fast on the podcast train. We're getting rated up there. If you guys have an iPhone or have the podcast app, go rate Plain and Simple Predator Hunting with the Dog Soldier. That way we'll grow. But anyway, reds are just a pain in the butt. And on top of all the other things that the East Coast, plain and simple, the whole East has going for it, the amount of numbers, the pressure. But for us Western boys, in our defense, I will tell you right now, I live in the hardest state in the country to kill a coyote in. Do you know that?
Oh, I know. That's a tough state.
God, Wyoming sucks. These boys out here, you know, Cal Taylor lives an hour from here, I think, an hour and a half. He's a really good government trapper. And I know the government trappers on the other sides of the mountain. I'm telling you right now, these boys mean business. And their whole life is numbers, because that's how they are graded if they're worth a damn or not as their job. So, I mean, they killed 88 coyotes on one ranch. The hole-in-the-wall ranch, I call it. You know, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid had a hideout called the hole-in-the-wall just south of us here. And I have permission to hunt that ranch, and I don't know if I'm even going to step on it because they killed 88 from an airplane the other day.
One day.
Yeah. Yeah, so what am I mean, you know...
You need to get an airplane, Steve.
I know, right? It's gonna it's gonna happen when they legalize wolves as well. You know, these government trappers, they don't have to have justification. If they're out flying and doing their job and they hit a pack of wolves, they're gonna mow them down.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which is fine. You know, that's life, and life goes on, and that's what God put us on this earth to do. I mean, he gave us dominion over all animals, if you want to pull the biblical card on it, and that's just, you know, there's reasoning behind that. So speaking of wolves, what is your opinion? You have way bigger coyotes on the East Coast, correct?
Well, I wouldn't say way bigger. I mean, big males will average mid-40s usually. Occasionally they'll creep into the 50s. These people that are saying 60-plus pound coyotes, I think they're a little nuts on that. I think they need to either get their scale adjusted or actually weigh the coyote themselves. But mid-40s, I mean, males, I mean, and that's not common. You know, most of them are probably mid-20s to mid-30s range is what they mostly go.
Yeah,
but, you know...
Our big coyotes are 35, I think, you know, here.
Yeah. But we get some, you know, they have a lot of big contests here in Pennsylvania, and they all go by weight, and I'm always curious to see the weights, and you see the 45, 46 pounders are usually the ones that win the big prize. Occasionally you see one creep at 50, but that is extremely rare.
So do you think 90% of these Facebook posts that 50-plus pound coyotes are farce?
I believe they are. I think a lot of people probably would agree. But believe it or not, a lot of people believe it because I guess they're not just used to being around that sort of thing and seeing actual coyotes. You know, you pick up a 25, 28-pound coyote and you're hauling it 100 yards. By the time you get back to the truck, you're thinking, man, this thing's got to be 45, 50 pounds.
I killed one. Actually, Clay Owens killed one in Clay Owens killed one in the World Championships with me and him was hunting in 2008 or 9, and we just knew it was 50 pounds. And that thing weighed 38 pounds. But you know what? We won the damn big dog at the World Hunt with 38 pounds. And I post a picture of that thing every now and then. It looks like I'm holding a grizzly bear, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's amazing. And wolves. I mean, I weigh 200. I'm a thin 200 pounds. I mean, I like to think I look skinnier than I am, but it's hard to guess me at 200 pounds if you just looked at me. And you know, I'm 5'10", and I could hold a wolf up, and I guarantee you that thing would look like it weighed 160 pounds. But you know, if a wolf weighs 90 pounds, you killed a freaking big sucker now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the wolves in the East Coast? Do you think that's why the coyotes are a little bigger there? The red wolf, is that what the wolf that's in the East Coast? Is that what they think they did?
Well, I mean, there's been some documentaries on TV and so forth, but the fact is, all coyotes have wolf genes. Any canine has wolf genes. I think more has to do with the fact that there is a low population. They're not really competing as much for food between one another. And as dense as it is, there's a lot of food here and a lot of cover for them. They can stay safe longer. I think they're getting to be older dogs, and older dogs are naturally going to weigh more.
Yeah. Man, I killed that lion a couple years ago, and he was a 180 or 190. I mean, a cat has a lot of mass to them, but these coyotes and wolves, they don't have nothing but bone and lankiness, you know.
That's it. They're constantly burning calories on the move, and they got to eat to survive, and they're always moving. They're always hunting. They're burning their calories. They got to replace to stay alive.
Yeah, that's right. So, what we did here is we're talking East Coast coyote hunting for you guys that just joined. I know it's getting pretty close to the end. We're talking East Coast coyote hunting with Bees O'Brien from Bees O'Brien Game Calls. So, Bees, it's about time to give your call away, ain't it?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. Okay, so earlier when me and Bees was talking, we was just hanging out, talking about business and doing our thing, and talking about when Bees was starting his business and when he was doing stuff and yada yada yada. So I'm gonna ask you guys this: What is a quote? And this is how they're gonna win your call, Bees. And if you guys win the call, we'll watch the chat. And if you guys win the call, what we'll do is you need to go to Facebook and send Bees a message and just look him up. Bees O'Brien Game Calls. He's easy to find. Or you can go to your sex offender database in the United States. And no, that's just kidding. Okay, so anyway, Bees said a quote that I really thought was cool. And he started his business in 2006, right? Is that right, Bees?
Started in 2003, but 2006
Okay.
I started getting into the cow horn howler, so that's really when it started to take off.
I got you. So, we've already got a winner, and I haven't even started. I was going to say he said a quote when we were talking about how he started his business and everything that I really, really liked, and Backwoods Hunt and Fish has already won the damn thing.
Already a winner.
Spinning like crazy. And I tell you right now, I don't know Backwoods Hunt and Fish. I don't know his name. But when he messages you, make sure when you message Bees that you copy me in it. And I'd like to chat with you because I know you're on the podcast a lot, and I know you're soaking this crap in. I mean, this cat's been watching from the first 5 minutes till now. That's pretty damn good. So, Bees, I need you to, when he does message you, I need to make sure you see that he shared this link before 8:58 Mountain Time.
Before 8:58 Mountain Time.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
He better have shared it.
He better have.
Okay.
I gotta get on something here quick so I can get the message.
Yeah. So he'll send you a message, and just send him your address and name and copy me in it, and it'll be pretty cool, and Man, we had some good discussions tonight. This has been a great podcast. We've talked coyote hunting. We've talked a little bit of the industry. We've talked call making. We've talked about the Winchester, the new chassis rifle. We talked about Tim Wells' blowgun. For you guys that didn't watch from the start, I know we got a lot of viewers after we started. You guys should really, like, when I download this to iTunes, you guys should really listen to this podcast or watch it on YouTube. This was probably one of the stoutest podcasts we've had so far. Bees, you're a superstar.
Superstar? No, I don't want to be a superstar. You know my feelings on superstars. We don't want none of that, Steve.
I'm glad I'm not a superstar. I would be like, I would be down in my chair going with sucking my thumb saying, "Oh, Bees is tearing my ass up." You guys at home don't have a freaking clue how much fun some of us guys in the industry have behind the scenes. I wish we could show you guys everything we talked about, everything we did, and we just can't publicly do it because, I mean, it's just a pain in the butt, all the red tape, and we talk about that a lot. And you know what? It's been a good podcast. What do you think, Bees?
Oh, it's been great. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been a good time, good fun, and I still haven't received a message.
Yeah, he'll shoot you a message. He's probably still watching. So how do we find you on Facebook once again, Bees?
You can search for Bees O'Brien Game Calls on my page. You could like that, or you can just add my personal account too. Just look up Bees O'Brien. I'll add you as long as I don't hit the 5,000 where it keeps me from getting any more friends. We don't want that to happen, do we, Steve?
Oh no. So if that happens, are you gonna post it all over Facebook so everybody knows?
Oh, it's going to be on your wall.
Well, Bees, thanks for joining me tonight, and I'll have you on again, brother.
All right, sounds good, Steve. Hey, you want to get Pennsylvania knocked out of the way? We'll set something up sometime. You can come on out.
I'm gonna have to, man. I'm gonna have to. Okay.
All right, leave Jason Stearman at home.
I will. He can't shoot, huh?
No, well, I've seen it on the episodes. It's just whiff after whiff, and he tells me that you leave out all his kill shots when you're doing editing and only show your kill shots. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, I'll give him a lot of practice because we got a place about 3 hours south of his house that's just full of grays.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as soon as November 1st hits, I think that's when it opens in Colorado, we are going to tear that country all to hell.
There you go.
I don't care if we got camera guys or if it don't matter. It don't matter. We're going fox hunting and we're going to get ready for Pennsylvania.
That's good. That's good. There's an open invitation always out here for you, Steve.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And hey, Backwoods Hunting Fish, when he messages you, he is good. He was worried because he couldn't. He's like, man, I shared it and I don't know how to show you where I shared it or whatever. So it's all good. Backwoods Hunting Fish won the call. And Bees, we'll talk to you later, brother.
All righty. Later, Steve.
All right, man. Be good.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Bye. Man, what a podcast. I tell you what, it just every week it just gets better and better, and I appreciate you guys watching. We don't have as many live watchers as maybe I would like to have. So what I need you guys to do is make sure you share the YouTube channel, youtube.com/DogSoldierTV. Make sure they click the dinger and then they'll get notified when we're live. But that's fine because these podcasts are getting watched anywhere from 500 to 1,500 times a week. The podcasts are really fun. It gives you guys a platform to get to know me better. It gives me a platform to get to know you better. And I know I can't interact sometimes when I'm with Bees or other guests, but I am reading your chats. And you guys can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/the Dog Soldier Steve Kreiner, I believe is what the link. But I'm not too hard to find. I just want to thank you guys. I really want to thank you guys for being on the podcast and listening. I want to thank you guys for sharing. I want to thank you guys for you paying attention. I mean, Backwoods Hunting Fish knew exactly what I was talking about. It seemed like, I said something about a quote and he boom. And I'll do tricky things like that all the time, and we're going to give some cool stuff away. Next week, we're going to give a Codwell XLA bipod away, 13.5 to 27-inch bipod. Now, this is a bipod you can clip on your rifle, and you can set down and extend the legs. They are badass. We're going to give one of them away next week. And actually, I take that back. I am leaving for Missouri Thursday night, so the podcast will go on Thursday night, but it's going to be pre-recorded, so it will not be a live podcast. So, I'll run a contest the week after or something. So next week we'll have a podcast. I don't know who's going to be on the show yet, but it'll be launched Thursday, and but it'll be pre-recorded, and we're having a good time. This podcast is really cool. I hate that some people in the start haven't jumped on board, and maybe they will after a while. This is just a really cool platform, and we're having a lot of fun, and it's not a in-your-face, buy this or I hate you kind of show. This is just plain and simple predator hunting, no BS. And that's how we like it. So, I mean, keep your head up, move forward, stay fearless, and don't apologize to no one. And I tell you right now, if you know a veteran, or if you see a veteran in the Walmarts, if you see a veteran in the McDonald's, go up and tell them thanks. Because without them, straight, plain and simple, no BS. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today. Peace out, homies. Steve Kreiner here. I'm signing out. I'm going to go eat pizza. It's Podcast Pizza Thursday. Peace out, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you next week.